You know where you are? You're on the wrong side of the tracks. It's my domain. I'm bringing that A game. It's my domain, man. I'm bringing that A game. It's my domain. I'm bringing that A game.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we are back once again on the Aussie Gooner channel, and I have a mate of mine in the building. Fellow Gooner Carl has walked in to chit-chat this and that about this North London derby that we're just going to freight train into. Before I get into that, Carl, how you been, man? You been good? You've been feeling confident or what?
I'm feeling extremely confident, mate. Very, very confident. Good evening to you, by the way. It's good morning over here. It's about 11:30 here in the morning here at UK. So yeah, not hungover on a Saturday like I used to be, but yeah, I am all good. I have my cup of coffee and yeah, all set, ready to go for this. Yeah, let's fucking slap these bastards, shall we?
You know what? It's just going to be one of those games, Carl. We're coming into this game, and I'm telling you, like, you know, going to White Hart Lane has always been one of those things where it's like, oh, you know what? You know, we win at the Emirates, they win at White Hart Lane, yada, 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 right? But for me, this is a different Arsenal team now, a different animal. Like, this is an animal that's just hungry and thirsty, and it's relentless. I watched us go no stops through Chelsea. We're like a train. You know what I mean? You know when you got a train that just goes flying past a stop and you were waiting for it, just boom. That's what we did to Chelsea. And I got a feeling that we're still on that momentum right now. That we're just going to go straight freight train through Tottenham Hotspur. I just can't see Spurs giving us any trouble, Carl. Am I being overconfident? Am I a bit, you know, is the coffee getting to me? What is it?
You're being a tad overconfident, but the fact it's a North London derby, there is no love lost between us and Tottenham, none whatsoever. And I think when it comes to you, I wouldn't say you can't even be respectful. You just got to be okay. Yeah, you've got good players. Your manager is good at playing or adjusted to attacking football. That's grand and that. But as soon as I wake up on Sunday morning, that's it. Any sort of I have no respect for Tottenham. No respect. My hatred level goes up to 11. I thought when I get annoyed when we play Man City or Chelsea, I like, yeah, okay, I get annoyed. But when it comes to Spurs, different level of hatred. I become the most insufferable prick you've ever met in your life.
They bring out the hate and the spite, and it's their attitude more like it. You know, these guys are coming in confident. I just don't get it. Where this confidence stems from, is it, I don't know. They're like walking into something blind thinking, oh, look, we're at White Hart Lane. We got this. You got an L. It's just how big that L is going to be. You got Arsenal coming in. I mean, you know when they say wounded animal? We're not a wounded animal. We're not. We're the hunters. We've wounded an animal. I'm ready to just finish them off. Like, you know, just put them out of their misery. They've got this thing at the moment that they believe that they can make a European berth again. They're thinking coming back into the Champions League. I want to take it away. I want to just hurt them so bad. You know, I want to just do you know what we did to Chelsea? I want that. I want that seamless build-up play, right? That it's just like tip, 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 shot, tip, 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 shot. And I've got a bad feeling that the way Ange has set up his team, we're going to see a lot of this. That high line of his, and he has to play this high line with the squad, with the players that he has. I think it's going to be his undoing because he's not going to change nothing. And with Thomas Partey and Declan Rice in the midfield, it's going to be very hard for them to break us down. I don't know if you know what I mean, Carl, but since Partey's come in with Declan Rice, that dynamic that we've always wanted to see, I've seen it.
Partey has got that presence about him. Jorginho is all good in that, and he does solidify that six very, very nicely well. But he's a bit like your traditional Italian waiter. He's very polite, very calm, very composed. Thomas Partey is more of the Ghanaian prison warden. He just takes no shit off anybody. And what he done in that midfield against Chelsea, he put Caicedo and Enzo in his back pocket all day. That's what we miss. The fans have been screaming for. When are we going to get this midfield free of Odegaard, Partey, Rice? When are we going to get that? We finally got to witness it on Tuesday night. Okay, it was against this Chelsea team. Let's be honest, they are a little bit shit.
$1 billion worth of shit. But let's continue, please. Continue. Yeah.
But You saw what Partey is capable of, and I think we are needing him in this game. The biggest focal point in that Tottenham attack is going to be James Maddison. And I know he's been a little bit off form, but we know he knows what a North London derby is going to be like. If you stop him being, I look at James Maddison as basically like a point guard in the NBA, the man who makes it all happen. You stop him, you stop the whole flow of their attack completely. And if they play Timo Werner on that left-hand side, well, then they're just asking for trouble, because Ben White is just going to be a breeze block on Werner.
Timo Werner, and look, Maddison is their key. He's their number 10, a guy that was, I mean, we all know his history when it came to Tottenham, but they took him in anyway. You know what I mean? Desperate times, desperate measures, desperate teams do desperate things. It's all shits and giggles and all friendly when you want to come over and play for Spurs, regardless of what you've said in the past, regardless of how you've slandered them, regardless. It's all good. It's all love, love, love. James Maddison is coming to play Arsenal. We're not going to play Spurs. We're just going to our second home. James Maddison's going to come up against the best centre-back pairing in the league, bar none. Bar none. And then if that doesn't stop him, you've got the likes of Declan Rice and Thomas Partey, dynamic duo in the midfield. James Maddison's going to look like a speed hump, and not even a good one. You know, the ones that have been run down for a while where you can just fly over them at, 70k an hour and barely feel it, like in a truck. It's like that. And he's a kind of guy that likes to go instantly, and I think he's going to be aggravated when it comes to trying to build up play, especially with that point you made with Timo Werner. And I know they're going to go with Werner. They've got no other option. Apparently, they're going to sign Werner. Misfiring Timo Werner is going to be on the left-hand side. And like you said, Ben White is going to be destroying him. It's going to be horrible. And if you go forward, if you want, let's talk about our winger in Bukayo Saka. He's more than likely going to be paired up against Ben Davies. Now, if you remember that Chelsea game, what he did to Cucurella, right? What the hell is he going to do to Davies? The guy's a centre-back playing left-back. He's got 2 left feet, and Bukayo Saka is going to tear him up, man.
The only way that will work, the only way that back line is going to work for Tottenham is if they play the back three, because Parra apparently is out and Doggy's out for the rest of the season. You don't have what you're going to do. If you really are going to come bend me over Davis and you're going to play Emerson Chicken Royale, what the hell are you going to do at the fullback position? You're better off playing Mickey van der Ven, Romero, and Ben Davis as a back three, because at least then you can get width on that side. And obviously, you're just going to have to use, I don't know, you're probably just going to have to use Brennan Johnson, and I'm not sure who I'm not sure who your other winger is.
Kulusevski's on the bench. It's Brennan Johnson, Timo Werner. Kulu can't play the left. He plays the right. So who's their other winger?
Yeah, they don't have
Richie?
the position. They don't have the positional. They just have the positional players to work a 3-4-3. They don't. So they're going to have to put a square peg in a round hole.
And that's good old Ben Davies. He's going to be squared up against Bukayo Saka. He's going to tear him up. He's going to be in card trouble. Him and Van der Ven, either one of them are going to be in card trouble trying to stop Saka. They're going to try and do a number on him. They're going to try and stop him.
They'll double team in.
They will. And the best thing about that, as soon as they do that, Odegaard now gets free run.
Yep. And also,
because as soon as they do that, go for it. No, please continue.
And when Declan Rice gets asserted more on the left side of the midfield, he then has. I'm hoping to God that Trossard actually starts, because if Saka gets all the attention on the right, Saka then only has to deal one-on-one with probably Romero or maybe Mickey van der Ven. It all depends which one. I think it'll be Romero he'll go up against. That'll be problematic for Emerson Royale going up against Trossard, because he's not fast, but he is technically skilled. And I think Royale's going to get put in the blender by Trossard. If he does, it'll be an early night or through that side, because they know Saka. I kind of think Trossard, Tottenham are not going to be dumb. They're not going to say, Saka has dropped absolute massive clangers for the last 8-9 games. Yeah, so we're not going to stick him 1-on-1. If you stick Saka 1-on-1 on his day, he could just cut you off inside and he can whip that ball in, no problem whatsoever. So they have to do that, even despite Saka's playing like absolute dirt right now. But you try and leave Trossard open, you're going to have problems. Odegaard's going to come forward with the ball. Rice are going to come forward with the ball. And not to mention, we haven't spoken about the freaking German Neil from the in-betweeners in Kai Havertz.
We haven't said a word.
10 minutes into the stream, we've not said anything about Havertz. But no, he could be a huge threat in this game. Havertz, I'm starting to see slowly growing on me now. And the reason
like a mole.
why it's like a mole, really. Yeah,
like a mole. Yeah,
it's a mole.
I think we were both on the same bandwagon that Kai Havertz to Arsenal wasn't something we were too pleased about. We weren't jumping for joy about it. But this is a player who's gone from stride to stride, and he's now starting to pick up some form. Double digits in goals, starting to get those assists. Really troublesome. And I don't know, under Mikel Arteta, it looks like maybe he's made the right decision in Kai. A lot of money, but let's be honest, his goals have got us through games. And against Chelsea and many a team, he has been somewhat of a positive impact. I mean, if he can start finishing his dinner instead of missing 3 or 4 chances and then getting one, it would be better. But when you've got the quality that we have around him, sometimes him missing is not too bad because you've got Odegaard, you've got Declan Rice, and for God's sake, even Ben White getting on the score sheet. Our goals are coming from everywhere. And that's why I think when it comes to Spurs, it's not going to be an easy night because the type of football they play, it leaves them so susceptible to a counter. And the way we take the ball from defense to attack, it's seamless. You saw it against Chelsea. It's 2 passes and we were in their third. 2 to 3 passes and we're in their third. And that wasn't even under any sense of urgency. That was just 2 or 3 passes and we're in your third, taking our time because we know you're going to sit back. If they play a high line, it'll be 2 or 3 passes and it's 1-on-1 with Vicario.
Yeah, if you got Trossard doing the 1-on-1 against Vicario, there's only one place where that ball is going. And it's going in the back of the net because he can technically finish his shots. Whereas I think Havertz has got good striking technique on him. I always look at him as at the player what Giroud should have been at Arsenal, where he had the aerial threat, he could hold up the ball well, but he could also be a pain in the backside at the same time. Wenger didn't use him in the correct way. He didn't use Giroud in the correct way when Arsene Wenger was manager. But with Havertz, I can actually see a little bit of those traits. And I like that. I do like that. Because you're going to want to, if you rough up a defender, they know then that there's like, oh, God, I'm going to have my hands full here. You're going to have to mark him. You're going to have to mark him. And pretty soon, Odegaard or Rice, they're going to find acres of space and they're just going to take a shot. Rice more than Odegaard. We know Odegaard plays 5 bloody passes or takes 5 million touches before he takes the shot. Although recently he has took that back down again to like 2,000 touches and then takes a shot. But he has slowly started to come about like that. And I just think, Arsenal fan, we should be confident. Everyone I've seen is predicted 3-1, 4-0, 4-0, 3-0, this, that, and the other. I'm trying to stay very, very even keeled on this game because I want to still beat the living crap out of them, but at the same time, I'm also looking at what could be the most realistic scoreline. What I well know for a fact. No one is going to finish with 11 men in this game. There's going to be a sending off.
Oh, there has to be because there's going to be frustration somewhere. But I honestly believe that the frustration is going to lie on Spurs on Spurs' shoulders. I think James Maddison, a great player that he is, when it gets a bit tough, he's that kind of player to just throw his toys out the pram. And he kind of goes into his shell. And I've seen that a few times this season with him. Because he's key to their attacks, it's a bit troublesome because they really don't have players going forward. Now, I'm not saying Son isn't a key player for them. He is a great player, world-class player, out of position, playing the number 9. He hasn't looked the same coming in centrally. I'll always believe that Son is always going to be a left winger. Now he is a square peg in a round hole. And I look at Tottenham Hotspur and I'm just trying to figure it out because when I see the way they play with Ange, and Ange is playing this style of football because he's trying to compress the gaps between his defenders and his midfield. He knows he hasn't got the attacking presence. He hasn't got those players apart from Son. So he thinks if I get enough bodies in the box with the midfield as well, I'll eventually get goals. And if I don't play a high line, I'll open up. And then with all those bodies in the box, they'll hit me on a counter very easily. Hence the high line. Against Arsenal, you do that and you're playing into our hands because all we'll do is control the ball and transition quick. Son is a kind of player, in my opinion, that needs space. He doesn't need to be confined into the box to try and get his goals because every time he does, he bobbles it. I believe that with this style of football, you kind of played him out of the game. And so I look at Son, I think sometimes maybe he's ineffective because of this style of football. And you got Brennan Johnson, you got Timo Werner. Let's be honest, those aren't names that really worry you. You see them on the starting line, you think to yourself, cool story. Am I supposed to be worried here? You know, I've got Tomiyasu as a left back, and he actually played really well against Chelsea, in my opinion. He's not going to have a problem against Johnson. Timo Werner, Ben White's not going to be faced, so that's not going to pull Saliba or Gabriel out of position. Now Son's going to he's going to be stuck in the middle of those two. I don't know. I don't see the goals.
Here's the thing, though. When we played Tottenham back at our ground, the lineup was as this. Okay, so they had David Raya in goal. The back four: Ben White, William Saliba, Gabriel, and Les Dennis. You know who I mean by Les Dennis?
Yeah. You can't help yourself. You just can't help yourself.
Like midfield three: Martin Odegaard, Declan Rice, and Fabio Vieira. And then you're up three of Saka, Gabriel Jesus, and and the King of Zamunda, Eddie Nketiah. And that was at the Emirates. That was when we were still trying to find out how good Rice was. We were still trying to work out, we had players injured, obviously. Timber had torn his ACL back in the first game against Nottingham Forest. Zinchenko come in and has been dog, really. Fabio Vieira, I still don't rate the guy.
Yeah.
He's useless.
I think he's too fragile.
Yeah, too fragile. Eddie Nketiah, not a lot really more to say about it. I don't even think Hull City will take him.
Eddie's done.
Yeah, and Gabriel Jesus, not a striker, but we played him as a false nine anyway. So we had a lot of problems back then. Whereas Tottenham, they pretty much had their full strength squad. They had Porro and Udogie as their main fullbacks. Basuma and Pape Sarr were their defensive midfield partnership. And then you have Brennan Johnson one side, Kulusevski the other, Son up top, Madison playing as the number 10. What we're going to see in this game, if Arteta has got his head screwed on, which I hope he bloody does, because it is North London derby, we put the same team out like we've done against Chelsea. I guarantee you Tottenham are going to find it very, very hard going in that match. Even though we're playing at the freaking Toilet Bowl Arena and that crowd, that atmosphere is going to be toxic and hostile as hell. I still think we'll have enough to overcome, but it all depends on the day. And someone put in the comments. Someone put it. Anthony Clark. He put, please Arteta, do not underestimate Tottenham when it comes to derbies. Form goes out the window. It's who wants it more on the day. And that is it. Who wants it more? We're trying to win the title. Tottenham are trying to hang on to that, trying to chase Villa for that final Champions League spot, because the 5th place right now isn't guaranteed unless Aston Villa go on and win the Conference League. And if any of the German clubs fall off a cliff in the semi-final rounds, like Bayern.
It's going to take a miracle. It's going to take a miracle for them to go through on other teams' results. Tottenham need these 3 points as bad as we do.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you look at the Arsenal squad, and I agree with Ibi and I agree with everybody in here that we should be fielding the same squad that went up against Chelsea, because that squad was fluent, squad was strong, there was no weaknesses in it. I think every single player put in a shift. Maybe once or twice Tommy was caught out. I wasn't very happy with it, but don't forget this is a Tomiyasu who's kind of had, sort of just only come back out of injuries. But I think that squad there is way too strong for Tottenham to take care of. This squad that they're going to be coming in with is going to be not as strong, a little bit weaker than what they had when they came at us the first time. But let's be perfectly honest. Every player that was on the pitch up against Chelsea was in great form. Thomas Partey and Tomiyasu were 2 players that really haven't seen too many minutes. And with those minimalistic amount of time they've had, they were great.
They played like they'd been playing from the start of the season. They didn't miss a beat.
It was seamless. And I think that this game, they say the game is won and lost in the midfield.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if we talk midfield, if we just talk the midfield, and we compare James Maddison to Martin Odegaard, it's apples and oranges. Martin Odegaard, if anyone doubted Martin Odegaard, you watch him against Chelsea, right, and you see the passes he was putting in and what he was trying to create in the last game, it's a lot easier. You could realize how important he is to Arsenal's build-up play. The balls he was pinging in was scary. I mean, that Havertz's first goal, does everyone remember that first goal? That ball, where did it come from? It came from Martin Odegaard. And from where? From the distance. And the way he ran, the way he put the ball in, and Havertz just ran onto it. Perfectly placed pass for Havertz to finish off. And I think when you compare Odegaard to Maddison, again, apples and oranges. Yves Bissouma, remember we were linked with Yves Bissouma. I remember him. And I wasn't phased. Yeah, I wasn't phased when we didn't get him. I was like, yeah, whatever. Who do we compare him to? Thomas Partey? Yeah. DM?
That's a comparison. DM, yeah.
Yeah. Is it even worth discussing? When Thomas Partey's on point.
Basuma's been in awful form. But
disgusting.
One's been in awful form and Partey's been out injured for most of the season. So the only way you could compare them to is basically in past matches. And when Basuma played defensive midfield at Brighton, he was solid. He was really solid at Brighton. But Partey, he's been there and done it. And you probably have more faith in Partey being that anchor in front of the back four and putting out the fires than what you probably would Basuma. Because I think Odegaard and Rice, technically, I think they're just too class to get through Basuma in my own personal thing.
I think they're going to roll over him. Sarr is another player, but even Bentancur, because I think Spurs here, I think the better move for them would be to put Bentancur and Basuma side by side. But even with
when I have my Spurs fan on my channel, I think
was I right, Bentancur?
No, it was Thursday. He basically said he wanted Bentancur and Højbjerg as a defensive midfield partnership.
That'd be solid, but they wouldn't be able to get out of the midfield because both those players really like to sit back. It'd be good for James Maddison, but there wouldn't be. You'd have two eights, two basic eights, and Basuma, in the form that he's in, I can understand why he'd want him off the pitch. But I think Ange wants a 6-8 partnership. He doesn't want like an 8 and 8 or a 6 and a 6. So, but if they were to decide to go with Højbjerg and Bentancur, I'd be perfectly happy with that. Because I'll be perfectly honest with you, Højbjerg can't turn his body and pass. He can't.
No, can't.
He's fucking horrible when it comes to making a turn to try and release a ball every single time. He'll track back and pass the ball back.
If they're going to try and do that, they need to. I think Bentancur, is very good, but I think they'll also need to probably play Pape Sarr in there as well. If you have those two, I actually think one can bring out the ball from the back, the other can progress forward in towards Maddison. That's where I think they should do. But I don't know what Ange will do. I honestly don't know what Ange Postecoglou will do because he's a bit of a maverick. It's either his way or the highway, and if it's the highway, then it craters on itself. Everyone is saying in the chat that the midfield is absolutely key. Rice, Partey, and Odegaard win your duels. Yeah, it will be the battle. It's going to be the battle of the trenches. Whoever wins the battle of the trenches will probably go on to win this game.
And the trenches, and to be perfectly honest, when we look at our midfield, look, Ebby said it. Rice, Partey, Odegaard, win your duels all day. Odegaard, a number 10 that goes back. Now, this is the key thing. Maddison isn't that guy. Odegaard's that kind of guy that all of a sudden he's back there defending, trying to pick up a ball and then bombing forward. Now, that's something I like out of a number 10. Remember, we had Mesut Ozil, wasn't really renowned for that. You've got a number 10 that can bomb back. And I'll give even credit to Gabriel Jesus as the number 9. He does that too. He'll bomb back, try and help defend, and then get back into position. I like that with Odegaard. He brings a little bit more to the game than just, I'm going to go forward, try and ping a pass, and just be an attacking mid. I can come back and be an 8 if I have to. And he is an 8 as well. So, I don't know. I think our midfield is just beyond quality when it comes to the comparison between Arsenal and Tottenham at the moment. It's not going to, you look at the players and you think to yourself, this is going to be horrible. I look at Ange Postecoglou and I say, I know you're one-dimensional. I know this for a fact. I know you have to be one-dimensional. He has to be because, look, guys, think of it this way. Not to hammer on Spurs. It is what it is. Spade a spade and all that, right? Let's call it out. Straight down the middle. Basuma's not going to get you goals. Benton Kerr won't get you goals. That's a fact. They're not going to get you goals. Madison might get you a goal. Might, right? Brennan Johnson, here and there. Timo Werner, forget about it. And if he does score, it's 1 in a million. Son is out of position. So when it comes to Ange Postecoglou, he has to play a high line because what he's trying to do is he's trying to get more bodies into the box and hopefully, somebody's going to get on the end of one. Pedro Porro, whoever it may be, because he hasn't got much of an attacking threat. That's the reason why he plays it. He also tries to compress the gap between his defense and his midfield whilst they're doing this. And he's hoping they can hold on to the ball. How many teams have been able to hold on to the ball when it comes to Arsenal?
Not many. Saying that, if that's what Spurs will do, and if it is just one-dimensional, as you say it will be, and I know Trossard has been very good for us. He scored 14 goals for us this season. Coming off the bench, he started 5 games all season for us, yet he scored 14 goals in total. The most impactful player coming off the bench. But this is what I would say. If Tottenham are going to come at us with fire and brimstone and play that ridiculous high line, would it make sense to actually start Martinelli? Because then, if you want to play the counter-attack, you've got Martinelli and Havertz. They are the 2 paciest guys going. And Mickey van der Ven is actually a very good defender. His track back in is actually very, very good. Would it make sense to probably maybe play Martinelli?
And he'd be facing Emerson.
Mm-hmm.
You could get if you threw Martinelli into the mix in the first 45. Yeah, Emerson would have a hard time with his pace. Emerson would. Trossard isn't, like you said, isn't the quickest player. But the one thing I can say about Trossard is on a counter. See, that's the thing. Both Trossard and Martinelli on a counter bring different aspects. See, Trossard's the kind of guy who can link up play and in a break for Havertz, whereas Martinelli will just take the ball and he'll go at Vicario. It's a good shout, Carl. If you throw Gabriel Martinelli to start, have Trossard on the bench, rest him up, get Emerson in car trouble, which it won't take long with Martinelli. Let's be honest. He's going to have to drag him down.
Yeah.
It opens it up for Trossard to come in the second half with Romero tired, Emerson on a card, and there's no one else to come in for Emerson and for him to just carve it up. That's a good shout. I don't want Jesus on there. I'd rather have Gabriel Martinelli come in for Trossard, Havertz, and Saka. Yeah, I like that. With Trossard coming in the 50th. Not even 60th, 50th minute. So he gets a full half, pretty much a full half. Yeah. Guys in the chat, let us know what you think.
Apparently, Porro is back. I did see a report on that, but if he is, okay, all right. That's the left side covered then.
Pedro Porro, is he available? Let me have a look.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Because look, Pedro Porro is half decent, but the only thing about Pedro Porro is he's good going forward, useless going back. There, Pedro Porro, give me sport. Available for Tottenham versus Arsenal. Yeah, a lot. Daily Mail coming in with that as well. There's a few things. Richie's also fit, but it's not like he's any good anyway. Look, even if Pedro Porro does come in, yes, he's better than Emerson all day. He is. But if Pedro Porro is going to be on that side, I'd rather Trossard to start.
Yeah, no, I personally would have Trossard starting on that side as well. I mean, I just brought the Martinelli idea up top because obviously with the way Tottenham play with the ridiculously high line, higher than George Michael used to be, it's there for the taking. It's the idea. It's there for the taking, really.
It's good to have these options. As Arsenal fans, we never had this before. It was always, it's a starting 11 and God help us. Right now, when we have a bit of a dynamic where we can bring players in to make an impact. Martinelli different from Leandro Trossard. Gabriel Jesus also coming out from the wing. He's not too bad. Not as a 9. I just don't think he's at 9 or a false 9, whatever you want to call it. Ibi, he made a really good comment. I get the idea of Martinelli, but I wouldn't start him. He's honestly been awful since the international break. And look, I agree.
Agreed. Yeah.
He's been a shadow of his former self from last season. And I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal are looking for left wing options when it comes to the transfer window coming up after the end of the season. I think Trossard's great, but I know Arsenal are going to be looking for a little bit more. to be perfectly honest. We are that team now that are looking to really solidify that starting 11, just better and better every year. But yeah, fair shout on that comment. Here we go. Trossard will bring us goals. We need that final ball at this stage of the season, in my opinion. Isn't Porro available? Heard he's back. Yes, actually, yep. We're looking at it. There's been numerous reports that Pedro Porro will possibly be starting for Tottenham Hotspur. Cool story. I hope he does start because when he does go forward, it'll just open up on that, their right-hand side, our left-hand side. He reminds me of Trent a little bit, just a little bit. That Porro. But to be honest, the other thing that I haven't mentioned, and this is one thing that's gotten to me. Remember Vicario when he first came into the Tottenham squad?
Mm-hmm.
You look at him as a shot stopper, great shot stopper, and people would say, you know what, that's good value goalkeeper. Now, as the season has moved on, we've started to notice what his weaknesses are. And I've noticed his weaknesses. This guy reminds me of Bernd Leno. I don't know if you know where I'm going with this, Carl. But Bernd Leno was that goalkeeper that every time someone had a corner, oh my days, did you know it was going in the B? Oh my God. It was hot potato.
Tottenham are one of the worst teams in the league that could defend at set pieces, especially corners. What are we very good at? We're very good at corners. Very good at corners. So, yeah.
And I'm thinking about that because I look at Vicario, I'm thinking, so how are you going to solve this problem? All good, Luca. Thank you, man. All good. Good to see you, boys. Good to see you, boys. AFC always. The problem with Martinelli is that when he runs with the ball, he never looks up. Exactly. He runs out of space lately. He doesn't know where he's going. He just knows to run and then goes, whoops, I got to cut in. Wasn't that guy last season?
Let Thierry Henry take him away for 2 weeks and he will get him to keep your head up when you're running with the ball. I bet.
Yes.
He's got a very good shot on him, and he obviously we know he's speedy. He's a winger. He's fantastic. If he keeps his head up and actually gets his direction right, you've almost got a complete player there. And I think he's still, remember though, he's still extremely young. He's still very young. So if he was just meant to send a quick phone call or a quick email to Thierry Henry and go, "Can you help me improve my game?" I guarantee you this, Henry will be like, "Cool. Fine, no problem. I'll give you a week, and then we'll see how we get on." And he will probably end up hanging in 25 goals next season. You what?
Honestly, you wouldn't. I wouldn't put it past, because to be honest, to have a player like Martinelli knowing where he's going, it's key. I was talking to a winger today, one of our boys, 14s, great player. I said, look, when you're making your run, before you receive the ball, you think you're about to receive the ball. Remember where you want to go. You know you're going to run, but know where you want to go. When you get there is a time where you look up and see if you got options. If you haven't, it's time to rate yourself, continue your run, and take the shot. So you know where you want to go. Once you get to where you want to get, turn to your right. As a left winger, turn to your right. Who is there? No one? It's all on me. I'm not waiting anymore. Let's not waste time. Martinelli, he does put his head down, but sometimes he's running to the corner flag until he looks up. He's taken on 2 or 3 players trying to chop him up to get into the box. It's not happening in the Premier League. It's not that easy. And he's not that guy technically. I think Saka can do that. He's got those techers. Gabriel Martinelli is more of an inverted winger. He's that guy that can just cut in and Sanchez it. You know what I mean? He's that Sanchez kind of winger.
Prime example. So obviously Julian Timber came back for his first game in the under-23s. If you actually watch his goal, he cuts inside. He looks up once, there's nothing there. Carries on right. Looks up the second time, there's nothing there. But he still took the shot anyway, and bang, he put it into the far left-hand side. Sorry, far right side, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, he's far right, goalkeeper's left.
Martinelli should look at that just that tiny little bit of videotape and just go, he looked up once, nothing there, looked up twice, fuck it, take the shot. Sorry, pardon me for swearing, my apologies.
No, by all means, this channel, swearing is all good. It's actually, I push for it, yeah. I get more money, guys, if we swear.
But yeah, I wish that was the case on my channel. Anyhow, but if Martin just looks at that Timber footage, he'll just go, right, he looked up twice. He can't see. There's no one to pass to. Looks at the second time, still nothing there. And in the end, it's like, I either carry on and run into another one of our opponent's midfielders, or I might as well take the shot. And if it goes in, everyone's gonna be like, wow, what a goal. And if I end up scuffing it, they'll be like, what? And they'll be like, oh well, at least you had a chance. But he actually put it in. That's what Martinelli just needs to work on. It's his craft, that little bit of craft that he has. If he gets that right with his head up, I generally think Martinelli will be a much better player going into next year. But I think Luca AFC is correct here. Gabriel Martinelli lacks confidence. I think ever since since the international break, he's looked way off. I don't know what's happened to him. He's looked way off. Maybe he might come on as a caveat in the Spurs game and cause a few upsets. I can see Trossard twisting and turning Pedro Porro. I mean, if you bring Martinelli on for the final 20-25 minutes, then you're just going to blow him out the water with his speed. He ain't going to be able to catch up. So more than one way to skin a cat in this game.
More than one ways to pluck a chicken. When it comes to this game, I think Gabriel Martinelli is going to be. Look, Trossard has really earned his start on the left wing, and what I like a little bit now is, you remember how we always had, Mikel Arteta has his favourites and yada yada yada, and he's sticking with certain players, and we'd be upset. And you remember back in the days we had the Emil Smith Rowe on the left hand side, wonderful player, got injured. Martinelli got his chance. Remember, we were always pushing, why does Martinelli get a chance? He got his chance, solidified his position. Now, with the drop-off in form with Martinelli, Trossard has finally got his chance. And let's be honest, I think right now that left wing position is Trossard's. And it's up to Martinelli to come up and show up. And if he's going to do it anywhere, it's in this game here. I think this is where he's going to get his opportunity, possibly in the second half. And if it is on a tired Emerson or a tired Pedro Porro, he needs to take advantage of it. He needs to start putting the ball into the back of the net. This is the Gabriel Martinelli that we've all grown to know and love. It's going to be an interesting game, and to be honest, I look at Arsenal's squad and I just think it's apples and oranges in quality. The difference between the two squads' form at the moment. I mean, you look at Spurs, you look at Arsenal. Let's be honest. I mean, I know the Aston Villa game was one of those ones that it hurt us. The Bayern Munich loss, of course. If we double them up, that's 2 in a row. But in the Premier League, we've only lost, one game this year? And it was to Villa. We bounced back.
Our ex-manager doing us over twice.
But
that stinks. That stings.
It does. But for me, I look at it and think to myself, we drop points there. We come back. We beat Wolves ugly. We then beat Chelsea phenomenally. And now we've started the ball rolling again. We're only 2 points adrift of Manchester City if they win all their games. This is the best team in Europe, bar none. There is no better team than Manchester City. And the gap between Arsenal and Manchester City in the Premier League is 2 points. Now, as a Manchester City fan, if you were, I don't think you should be jumping for joy when you look at the quality that you have on the pitch. You've got the best manager in the world. You've got everything going for you. And the gap between you and Arsenal is 2 points. Now that's worrying. It should not be 2. It should be 5. It should be 6. It should be a lot more than that. Pressure? I don't know.
Can I just make one point? Okay, so people turn around and say, okay, Manchester City, they I don't know why we're defecting away from North London Derby, but it's been brought up.
I just had to. It's a little bit,
yeah. So
it's a little bit.
People turn and say, oh, Man City, they haven't been as good as what they were last year. This, that, and the other. They've lost a lot of talent on the players. If they were to win all their remaining games, do you know how many points they would end up finishing at the end of the season? 91 points.
91 yeah.
Points. Yep. Do you know how many they finished off last season? 94.
Yeah.
One.
Actually, yeah, it was.
Left. So it's not like they've tailored off. It's just. So let me just go back a second. So they won 28, drew 5, lost 5. As it currently stands in the league right now, let me just get this up quickly. Currently stands right now, they've won 23, drawn 7, lost 3. They've lost 3 games. They've lost 3 games all season. So that is a big debunked theory, because it's actually for this season they've actually lost less games, but the reason being why, because they drew. City finished on 89 points last season. No, they didn't.
Did they?
Finished on no, they didn't. They did not.
Let me check.
Oh, hang on. No, I take that back. That's even worse. Yeah, that's even worse. 89 points. They finished
89 points last season.
So they could potentially finish with 2 points more. So
more. They're playing they're in better form.
So Luke, don't know who you are. Thank you for thank you for correcting me on that one.
Big up.
Yeah, so it's a debunked theory. You know, apparently this City team is worse. Calmly, that was the point tally is going to be around about the same. As I said to someone in the Army group chat, okay, I said the average points for you to win the league now is 90. The bare minimum to win the league now is about 90 points now. It used to be back in the older days, you could win between 75 and 80. But now that's the bar's been raised, all because of Chelsea, all because of Man City. That bar has been raised. Liverpool raised it as well because when they almost caught them, and because they almost caught them. So, yeah, we finished on 84 points. Yeah, but if we did lose the league by 2 points, people say we pushed them to the very edge. I will just say this out loud. Because you know what will help the sting of this loss? Not losing to Aston Villa, or actually taking your chances against Manchester City at the Etihad. Or how about not winning? How about winning only one of 5 Premier League games between the 9th of December and the 31st of December, where we lost to Villa, lost to Fulham, lost to West Ham, beat Burnley, and then we drew against some other scrub team. I can't remember who it was now. You needed one win out of that loss, and guess what? You win the league. We're not talking about we have to be squeaky clean from this point forward. We know Manchester City are very capable of running the table and finishing this all off. And at the end of the day, I say this: if we did beat Tottenham, I'll have more confidence that we could potentially win. The only way I see Manchester City dropping any kind of points is when they have to go to Tottenham. The only team I don't see City dropping points against Forest this weekend, even though it's a bogey ground of theirs and Forest are fighting for their lives. But I don't see City dropping points against Forest. The only team
neither do I.
The only team I see drop points to is Tottenham. And if they win that game, then they've got an easy home tie. I'm not sure who they play, actually, to be fair. But they're at home. They shouldn't
Everton?
be. No,
that's us.
We're at Everton, but I think Everton will be safe. They'll be safe from the relegation by the time we play them. I'm not sure who City have got, but it's at the Etihad. So,
City at the moment are a different animal. I look at Arsenal at the moment and I say to myself, they are the best team in Europe, 2 points beneath. It isn't great. It isn't, of course, we want to be ahead. At the same time, is our squad as good as theirs? On paper, no. On paper, not even close. But when you look at the table, that says a different thing. 2 points, you're not that far off. Top of the league at the moment, pressure's on who? Pressure's not on us. We're not supposed to beat City. This Premier League title has already been handed to City. It's already been preordained. It's theirs. They should have it. They're that team. I think for us at the moment, we can be the underdogs. We can afford to be the underdogs. I want to be the underdog. I want everyone to write it off. I want everyone to say Arsenal haven't got a hope. That's what I want. Because it just takes the pressure off these young players. You haven't got a hope. Let's go one game at a time. One game at a time. Tottenham Hotspurs, another game at a time. North London derby. Okay, you can call it that. I think it's going to be a North London massacre, not even a derby. I think this is 3 points that we're just going to go and get. And I think it's going to be 3 points at a time from here on in. We're going to face Manchester United and it's going to be the same thing. I don't see us dropping points to teams. I just don't see it. I'm looking at the teams that we're going to face. I'm looking at Spurs and it's not me being overly confident. I see Ange Postecoglou's game. I told Deji Spurs that Ange Postecoglou was going to be his manager before he was even announced. And it was like, no, on Insta. Then he got him and he's like, I'm going to have to back the manager. I said, I'm happy you are going to back him, but he only plays one style of football. Merry Christmas. I'll be seeing you soon. Look where we are now. Look where we are now. Now you've got David v. Goliath. And you figure out who David is, you figure out who Goliath is. But for me, I know what's going to happen now. It's going to be fucking horrible. It's going to be absolutely disgusting what's going to happen to Spurs at their home ground. To dare is to do. I dare you to come at us. I dare you to try and press us. Dare you to press Arsenal. Press them. See what happens. It's like going into an anthill and just flicking a couple of ants. See what happens when you do that. It's going to be bloody horrible. They're not going to be able to handle it. It's going to be hard. They're going to have to bog in the midfield, and even then it's going to be tough. in my opinion, for Spurs at their own lane. But we got these guys are saying, lads, do you think City will drop points at all? I think Forest will be tougher, at least Brighton, than Brighton. Brighton was thinking of playing five-a-side in their own box. Brighton were missing 11 players. Let's be honest. They're completely destroyed with injuries, in my opinion. I'm more disappointed losing to Villa than getting knocked out of the Champions League. I'm not. I couldn't care about Villa. I know it's like, oh, it's Aston Villa, it's this and that. You're not going to go through a Premier League season squeaky clean like Carl said. You're not. You're going to have to lose a game here and there. If it wasn't Villa, it'd be someone else. We're not the Invincibles team. We're not. And neither is City. It's very hard to go through a Premier League season squeaky clean like the Invincibles did. And it's getting to the point where you almost have to now to win it. You know, and any team that we lose to, I'm not going to be happy about. Any team, regardless if it's Spurs, Villa, friggin' Sheffield United, in my opinion. Just going through a couple of these comments. If afternoon all, g'day, Luke. I think I keep thinking we imagine if we beat Villa. Forget about it. It's done. It's over. It's dusted. City finished at 89 points last season. Thank you very much, guys. Look, in my honest opinion, I look for threats. Let's look for threats real quick, Carl. I look for a goal-scoring threat, a serious goal-scoring threat for Tottenham Hotspur. And I can only think of two. I don't see Brennan Johnson or Timo Werner being goal-scoring threats. I see James Maddison and Son being my only problems when it comes to goals being scored. And then I think about my defenders. Do you think Timo Werner is going to come into this game in any which way and cause us or wreak havoc against us? Because he's the only left winger they got, and Brennan Johnson as well. Do you think their wingers are going to be able to add to the dynamic of their attack? Because the only two players I can really rate are Maddison and Son when it comes going forward.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. There's no one technical bar maybe by Maddison that I would be very worried about. Son is their cornerstone. Son is the face of that football club. So, and he's captain as well. So he's going to need. You're going to have two men on Son. I know that opens up a lane a little bit for probably Pedro Porro on that right hand side. But I kind of think that Maddison, as I said, if you stop Maddison, you stop the rhythm and the flow of their attack. And I think if you let him just have the ball with speed, with space, he will do some damage. So we've got to shut him down at all costs. And Son, if we play a high line, Son has got pace to actually get past Gabriel and Saliba. So that's something we've also got to be bearing in mind. We can't just let this game be a basketball match, because at some point someone's going to score and then it's going to be like, okay, then it's action stations. So if you get rid of Maddison, get rid of Son, you nullify everything that Tottenham do then, and they will have to find another way. But I basically concur with everything that you said.
Honestly, if that's the case, is it time for Spurs to possibly change their formation then? Because they're constantly they're coming with a 4-2-3-1 all the time, 4-2-3-1. If the only attacking threats you've got are Maddison and Son, right? Is it time to change their formation? 4-1-4-1.
Yeah, Luke's put Spurs play a style that we have trouble with. Fullbacks that push up high. Spurs showed at the Emirates they can live with us. Bear this in mind, Luke. We have freaking Les Dennis at left back as well, and we have Vieira playing on that left hand side as well. No wonder Pedro Porro and freaking Brennan Johnson had a field day on us on that side. We're gonna have Tomiyasu and Declan Rice this time. It's going to be a different ball game. Let
me find that comment. Where is that comment?
It's literally the next one. It's literally the latest one has just popped up.
Let me have a look. Sorry.
There you go.
There it is. Spurs play a style that we have trouble with. Fullbacks that push up high. Spurs showed at the Emirates they can play. Look, you know what? And Carl, I concur with you. The reason why they could control us is because the squad that we had out there was chopped and changed completely. If they want to come at us, that's fine. You know, on a team that has wing backs that like to come forward, Liverpool. You know Liverpool? They've got Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson. One goes up, one stays back. Same thing these guys do. What happened when Liverpool tried to do that against Arsenal? One shot on goal the whole game. Raya didn't even need to be there. Not at all. He could have just gone on fucking strike. He didn't have to. I could have put Gunners. I could have just grabbed good old Gunnosaurus.
You could have put Gunnosaurus between the
Could have put Gunnosaurus in there. That would have been it. He would have made his debut for the club. You know, it's been a long time. I think that squad that we fielded at the time, like Carl said himself, was a chopped and was a shadow of this one. And again, we were testing the waters with a lot of players. We're now a sort of well-oiled machine. And I look at Tottenham Hotspur. It's a machine that's currently falling apart. I mean, don't forget, guys, this is a team that took 4 from Newcastle. 4. Now, come on now. They drew against West Ham. What did we do against West Ham? We didn't beat West Ham. We killed West Ham. I just don't see it. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. I just don't see it. I don't want to be overly confident. I don't. But it's hard not to be when I'm facing such a poor team. It's bloody horrible. It's not even worth. I look at Tottenham Hotspur right now. I keep thinking of Fulham. That's it.
Yeah, Ibby.
That's what I'm thinking.
Something. Yeah, Ibby said something as well. Rice got injured in the game at the Emirates against Spurs. They only started control of the game once he was off at half time. Saying that, but
that was a game, of course, that Partey wasn't in either.
That was a game that Partey wasn't in. So, as I said, your midfield was Martin Odegaard, Rice, and Vieira. And then when Declan Rice went off injured, you had Jorginho in there. It's a
and Jorginho is a very safe player.
He's a safe player. He's the sort of player you want to come on for the final 15, 20 minutes just to calm everything down. Control the midfield, and just play it safe. When you're 2-3-0 up, that's when you take your, because we know Partey is injury prone. Let's just call your words a spade a spade. Partey is injury prone. So if we're 3-0 up and the game's done and dusted, take him off, put Jorginho on for the final 20 minutes, and we get Partey ready for next Saturday against Bournemouth. That's basically there's a bit of a disagreement between Tony and Munson.
I just saw that.
Good to see you, boys. Good to see you, lads. So, yeah, but as I said, the midfield we're going to put out on tomorrow is going to be much different. It's going to be much, much different. If Spurs somehow manage to beat us, I'll be extremely disappointed, and that'll probably be the end of our titles. That'll probably be the end of our title chase, because Man City won't drop points.
We can't afford to drop. We can't afford to draw this game. Plain and simple. We need to go there for the win. They can't afford to either.
They can't afford it.
No, exactly.
This is why I can safely say this is going to be a basketball match. It's going to be end to end, and it's going to be which team. And also as well, in that game in the Emirates, both of their goals led to both of our mistakes.
Yes, there were mistakes. There were our mistakes. We gave them those goals.
If we make no mistakes in this game, which is very unlikely because it's a North London derby and any shtick can happen, okay? But if we make 0 mistakes, I don't see Tottenham scoring against us unless we gift them a chance. We gift them a chance. They have got every opportunity of putting the ball in the back of the net. But if we don't make any mistake, you've got to be. This game requires perfection. Simple as. It requires perfection. I know it's against
Tottenham, to do the basics. We need to do the basics right. With Tottenham, the way I see it is, look, perfect game, it's hard to come by. Against Tottenham Hotspur, to be perfectly honest, mistakes will be made, but it's going to be, can they pick the ball up and try and hurt us? Yeah, they could. But it was more likely Chelsea could do that. I think Chelsea going forward have got a better team than Tottenham, in my opinion. They've got better players going forward. They just don't know how to come together. I think if we're going to play this game and we go to White Hart Lane, we got to go back to basics and make sure that we do the normal basic movements off the ball, and we got to make our passes stick. I want 100% completion in the back. So the defenders, every pass, 100% completion. That's my expectation. Is that too much to ask for? I don't think so. When it comes to passes coming from defender to defender and outside our own third, 100% completion all day. They should be aiming for that. The midfield, you can expect there to be here and there a drop ball from blah, blah, blah. But if we want it to be a perfect game, it doesn't need to be going forward. It's literally between the defenders. So that means every ball that those defenders pull out needs to go to one of our boys. 100% completion. We do that. Tottenham have got nothing. They got fuck all. The other thing is, if you look at us when we do play out from the back, even when teams try and press us, and Tottenham will try and press us, we always shift, move, and we always offer. Our defenders always offer a position. So if it's from the goalkeeper, if it's from the left back or the right back, our defenders are constantly moving, and their midfield kind of shapes up as well. So that's why I think Tottenham Hotspur's kind of football is tailor-made for us, especially now, though, with a starting 11 that's played together, with a starting 11 that has some sort of fluidity. Their style hasn't changed from the start of the season till now. One-dimensional, same players, same football. And now Ange is being caught out. Ange is being maybe kind of taken apart. Everyone kind of knows what he's going to do and when he's going to do it. Their players, their runs are very predictable. I mean, look at Newcastle. They sat back and had a laugh. They went out there and fielded a team that was missing 6 starting line players? 6, I think it was 6.
They put out their C team. And they still slapped them 4-0.
And slapped them for 4. And I'm sitting there hearing on YouTube that it was a snatch and grab. No, it wasn't.
No, you don't listen to what Deji says. You do.
Yeah, but Deji says. I'm sitting there going, what the hell? Snatch and grab is 1-0 last minute in the 90th. See you later, and then defend, or the 80th and then defend. 4-0 is not a snatch and grab. 4-0 is being raped. That was on Never a Foul, wasn't it? Was that on Never a Foul? I think it was. They got absolutely decimated. They got decimated.
Kaz was probably thinking, what the fucking hell are you smoking, bruv? What are you smoking?
Oh, here we go. Just so you know, I've been watching throughout. It's only until I saw Munzie piping up I started the comments. Silver One, you take care of that. You take care of that has-been, that wretch. It's over for him. He wants to know when he's going to make his debut. You're going to make a debut on my channel, man. There's levels to this game. Levels. You need to get your team up in the top 4. You do that, maybe you can make a debut on the Aussie Gooner channel. Up until then, man, don't do this to yourself, son. You're not even good enough to get on my bench. Not even on the bench, bro. I don't want to do this to you, Munzie, but you get wrecked with these guys, man. These boys, they're not coming here to make friends. Ain't no friends in football. Ain't no friendlies here. Don't do this to yourself, man. You're gonna get torn up, bro. Please, man. I like you. You're a good bloke. Don't stick your neck out like that again.
I'm not gonna talk about Man United until this game and the Bournemouth game is done and dusted. I'm not
talking about Matt.
It's one game at a time. One game at a time.
That's it. 3 points at a time, guys. And there's 3 points up for grabs at White Hart Lane. Can we do it? We've done it before. Did it last season. Did the double. Yes, we slipped up this season, but like my co-host has said, we weren't the same team. Nowhere near. The team that they're facing now, Spurs, I've been watching from a distance, scared shitless. Look at us from corners and that, thinking, oh shit, it's coming. The train's coming, man. It is. It's gone through West London. No stops. Just blew past. Now it's flying into North London. Straight up White Hart Lane. No stops. Gonna roll straight through ya. No stops. That's what's coming, boys. Brace yourselves. It's going to be horrible. And I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure this is really going to get a lot of Spurs fans riled up. I think a lot of them are going to be looking at the manager, looking at this, looking at that, because they can't wait to point fingers. I just can't wait to see my guy Ange just looking like this. And then when they do the interviews, it's be like, just the referee, mate. He's just, what are we here for? Like VAR, like it's just, we gave it a go, but when you're playing against the referees, mate, and I don't want to say anything, mate. It's just we gave it a go. I can't wait till he starts that shit, and he starts, because that's what he does. It's hilarious. But guys, look, I'm going to get into a quick prediction. I'm not going to go into our starting line because I want the same. I think Carl would agree. The same team that started against Chelsea, I would like to start against Spurs, in my opinion. I wouldn't want to see a change at all. I don't know about you, Carl. Would you like to see the same team or would you like to see a change?
Nope, same team as what we smacked up Chelsea with. The exact same team. We have that. I don't think Spurs stand a chance against us.
No, I don't think so either. I think that team, it'll be enough to go through them. Maybe you got to go on. Thoughts on us trying to improve Gabriel's contract? Good initiative, even though he's got over 2 years left. Yeah, apparently, what was it, Carl? We heard he's gone from 50 to 100K?
Yeah, something along those lines. Yeah, I think it's an easy extension to do. It'll be done at the end of the season. But yeah, Gabriel, going into with where the season has gone, Gabriel for me has been our best player. He's been our best player. He's our player of the season. However, Odegaard is now making a very, very strong case. Odegaard has started to make a strong case now. If he continues the way he does it and we win the league, I might change my mind and go, do you know what, Odegaard? I put you down. I thought Maddison was the better player than you. Do you know what? I'll happily eat my humble pie. I'll take my own slap and say, yeah, you're better than Ozil. You're better than Ozil.
You heard that here first. Carl will go on his own channel and slap himself, right? We'll be watching. Look, we're happy to do anything we have to do. You know what I mean? Just to get us across the line, guys. Our Silver's in here. Here we go. If we beat them 5 or 6, I'm catching a flight to Sydney. We're going skinny dipping in Sydney Harbour. Now, look. You don't want to go into Sydney Harbour. It's not clean, bro. Right? But it's all good. Me and you can get together and we'll go skinny dipping. It's Tamarama Beach. That's nice. It's not too bad. There's other places. It depends if you want to, if you want it to be amongst everybody, or there's a nudist beach, La Perouse, if you want, not too far from the CBD. That's all good, That's all good. We could just lay back, man, let it all hang. And he always talks with his head down. He'll always talk with his head down, or if the camera's here, he'll do this. He won't look forward. He'll always do this. It's like he just doesn't want to make eye contact because he knows that this run is almost over and he's just about to be found out. That's what it is. He's not confident. He doesn't want nothing to do with the Lego hairdo. He doesn't want nothing to do with that. Ange Postecoglou versus Mikel Arteta. It's on like Donkey Kong at White Hart Lane. Arsenal to go in with hopefully the squad that they fielded against Chelsea. I think when it comes to Tottenham, if Porro is fit, we're going to see Porro on the right, Romero, Van der Ven, and good old Ben Davies. We all love him. They'll be crazy not to have Bissouma and Bentancur side by side. I don't think Højbjerg and Bentancur side by side will do them any justice. It will make their transition very slow, in my opinion. I don't know about you, Carl. Do you think Bentancur and Højbjerg would be a good shout, or do you think they're going to be a little bit more of an attacking threat with Bissouma and Bentancur? Or would it be Højbjerg and Bissouma? Middle of the park.
Something tells me it's going to be Højbjerg and Pape Sarr.
If it's going to be Højbjerg and Pape Sarr, that doesn't faze me at all. Because all that means is every time Højbjerg gets that ball, we put a bit of pressure on him. He can't turn and pass. He's going to pass the ball back to the defenders. If that's the case, that'd be perfect.
Postecoglou only plays one way, but he can still dictate the game by putting out players to actually stifle our attack. If he plays Bentancur and Højbjerg, then I think he's going to be a little bit more defensively, but they're still going to bomb forward. But I know for a fact he's going to drop one of them back into a centre-half position, and that's going to make it hard to break through the lines. But if he plays like I think he will, Pape Sarr and Højbjerg, that midfield's going to get run down. Rice and Odegaard are going to run them down.
They have to play Bissouma, even though he's not been great. They have to play Bissouma. I'm not saying he's that guy, but when it comes to what they have for selection, they have to start him. But Pape Sarr starts. I'm happy with that with Højbjerg. That'd be great. With Porro bombing on with Kulusevski's been out of form. Kulusevski's been on the bench, dude.
He won't start.
Yeah, Kulu won't start. Kulu's been out of form. He's actually benched now. So, but we'll continue with it. With Kulusevski, we might want to consider Jesus and Martinelli on the left to help Tommy out defensively. Plus, they both have pace on the counter if Porro caught out of position. Now, that's a good point, but with Thomas Partey in there and Declan Rice, even if Trossard is to go forward, you've got that 6 and 8. And if it comes down to the point where Tomiyasu needs a bit of help, you'll always see Declan Rice shift in and try and give Tomiyasu a little bit of a hand. So I saw it. You even saw it against Chelsea. It's a makeshift sort of, band-aid. I'd rather not have Martinelli coming back and trying to help out Tomiyasu, because to be perfectly honest, I don't want to take our wingers off and out of position when it comes to countering, because these guys are going to play a high line. I need our wingers to be a little bit further forward, so when we break fast. And I don't think Tomiyasu is going to have a hard time, even if Kulu was to start, or even if it's Brennan Johnson. I don't think it's going to be that difficult for him to take care of them. But that's in my opinion, to be perfectly honest. Jesus, the only reason why I wouldn't want Jesus playing on the right side is because all he offers is, a pass, maybe a run into the box. He just hasn't got that finish, Carl. You know what I mean? He runs into the box, falls on his ass, puts in a bargy pass, and then maybe you get a goal. I don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah. Is he that guy?
Nah, Jesus has been awful this season. He's already admitted that he's not a goal scorer. He's not a goal finisher. So your best bet is to put him on the wing, but I wouldn't even entertain him starting. I could see him coming on in the second half rather. For I've got no idea. Maybe if Havertz is having a bit of a poor game.
Even then, I would still leave Havertz on there and say, look, let's just see what we get going. Because in the later stages of the game, I'd rather have Havertz up there than Jesus.
Yeah, I would as well.
Last thing, last big predictions. I'm going to go with my prediction in this game, guys. And I know this is going to sound a bit cocky. I think it's going to go 3-0 to Arsenal. I know it sounds horrible, but to be perfectly honest, 3-0 for me. I don't see him scoring. I just don't, dude. I look at their attackers. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not overly confident. A spade. Spurs sucks, man. They got nothing. So it's going to be 3-0. I'm sorry. Put money on it. What do you reckon, Carl? What are you thinking?
I want to say... I actually generally want to say 4-1. I generally want to say 4-1. But I'm going to do this with a note of caution because I know for a fact it will get clipped up if I do this. So my actual prediction will be 2-1 Arsenal. That is my actual prediction.
2-1.
But if we win 4-0, 5-0, I'm going to make this apparent right now. My guest of honor, who was on my show 2 nights ago, predicted Tottenham to beat us 3-0. Bro, if we win, there's going to be no mercy. There's going to be no mercy. It's the good old-fashioned 1970s slapping that your dad gave you. It's going to be peak. Trust me.
Mate, he's already had Chelsea bent over a table and he's already whipped the crap out of them. He's coming for you now. Same table, same position. Assume that position. You want to know what that position is? Talk to your West London compatriots. They already know what it's like. They still can't sit down. I'm telling you, it's bad.
They got bad anxiety disorders. What was Arsenal like? Oh, please don't tell me. Arsenal, don't tell me.
Yeah. You know what? Both Spurs and Chelsea are going to end up at the same psychiatrist. Two couches. What happened to you? They took away my manhood, man. They took my manhood. They took away our power. And the psychologist sitting there going, I just got myself into too much here. I don't know if I can handle this. You're on your own, guys. You're on your own. Guys, you heard it here. We got Carl coming in at 2-1. I'm coming in at 3-0. Luke saying he's going to put his money on 3-0. And honestly, my gut is telling me 3-0. It's literally not me sitting there trying to put shit together. I'm not sitting here trying to for shits and giggles and the whole thing. I'm being serious. I honestly think that we're going to win this game 3-0. It's going to be 3 points to Arsenal. We're going to continue on our run. And to be perfectly honest, I don't see this being a difficult game. And that's the reason why I just don't see their players coming out and living up to Darius to do bullshit subliminal messages in that whole flippin' stadium. Every single bloody message is to Darius to do, to wank is to root. It's the same shit. Like, I just don't want to hear it. Like, Seriously, give a girl a friggin' nod means you're together. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, like the whole thing is a shambles. But anyway, guys, I'd really like to thank my co-host, Carl. And please, can you shout out your channel? Because I've got your link in the description. You saw the banner. I've got you in the description. Please shout your channel out.
Yo, Steve-O, thank you so much for having me on. Much appreciated. So you can find me on my YouTube channel, Gun Down. I do a show every Thursday known as Flammable Thursdays. It's like any other Thursday, except in my shows, someone or someone's team gets absolutely twatted. And in this case, it was again Chelsea. So there we go. Had the North London Derby preview. So go check that out as well with Dermo from THFC Till I Die. I wish he did. You can you can find me.
That's cold, dude.
Mate, it's Arsenal Spurs, mate. We embrace the hate. Anyway, back to me. You can find me on X, KB Arsenal Pats 32. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Twitch as well. And you can also find me doing a couple of co-hosting shows for a couple of NFL podcasts as well. Patriots Touchback, which we just did the live watch along for night one of the NFL draft. So I was up to like 5 a.m. My eyes are in pain to yesterday. And you'll find me contributing to a new NFL show called Hurdle the Line as well. And great group of guys, and we're doing massive bits over there. So go check us out there. But again,
guys,
Steve,
get involved.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
Mate, absolute pleasure to have you on. And guys, please check out, I've got the link to his channel, Gun Down, in the description. You saw it on the ticker as well. Go out there, give him, like some of his videos. Definitely hit the subscribe. And even here, turn on the notification bell so that way you know when Gun Down is up and running, when Carl's around and when I'm around. So that way you guys know when to tune in. You'll always see a little bit of this and that on Instagram from both of us. But look, from the Aussie Gooner to everyone in Australia, it's 3 points at the lane. It's Uru, guys. Uru.